Greetings and welcome to a cold frosty morning here. I'm dialing down temperatures hovering around freezing, 0 degrees when I got up, and yeah, finally getting some proper winter conditions. Yesterday morning was the coldest we've had so far this year. It dropped to -4. That's when I did the creek plunge. That was a brutal one, let me tell you. But yeah, still going with that. It's been years now that I've been doing the cold plunge, so yeah, I'm pretty well used to it now. But believe me, like it's still a shock to the system. Anyway, here's the ball. Just do the usual morning rounds here, and then I've got to head to work. So starting off this week, I am working 5 days. 5 days, so 3 days at the old job, 2 days at the new one. We'll see how that goes over the next few weeks. And yeah, look, I'm very excited to get into it. Down the line, I do want to, but from already just from the sound of it and how I felt about like starting this new job, it's like, yeah, look, I'm pretty sure that it's going to work out well, and I am definitely going to want to switch to that full time in the not too distant future. So anyway, I will have to balance both for a while, and then we'll see how that goes. So yeah, starting this week, back to full-time work. It does suck that I will have to do another trimester of study, but hey, I'll do that. I'll tick that off, and if I manage to fit that in on the side, I know I can do it. It's just all the heavy lifting, all the hard work has already been done. My placement's done, all the main coursework, my major, it's all done. It's all done. This is just like a bit of a BS administrative thing, really. Just needing to get my credits up to the required amount, because it turns out 2 of the courses that I thought were credited as electives are not. They are now core units. So because the old courses that I did were replaced with new ones, and the new ones are core units in my current field of study, which even though I didn't take them, I am credited those units, but still they can't be used as electives. So that means I'm 2 units down, don't have quite enough credits to graduate. So it's a bit frustrating trying to find all that information. Like, it should be pretty easy to access, pretty clear. But anyway, like I said in last video, I will go up in person, since I'm going to be in Toowoomba more often now, and I'll try to clear this all up with them, make sure that I do these 2 units, and then I can actually graduate. Because I want to graduate end of the year. What I'm worried about is, well, I do the next trimester. Does that mean that it's going to be because there seems to be a bit of a delay between, okay, you finish your units and then they process your results and then you graduate. Like, it seems to be a bit of a delay in that. So I'm talking fast this morning. Apologies if I talk fast sometimes. It's just there's so much going through my mind, and I'm just trying to get it all out. So anyway, I hope it all goes smoothly, but I will clear that up with them when I'm able to. So anyway, we've now surpassed 90-day milestone. Finally, it's been quite a while since I've been this high up on the days. No fap, semen retention. Of course, continuing to stay away from porn. That's like over 460 days now, last I checked on my blocker, which includes a counter. And really, it's gotten to the point now where I'm all like, honestly, like, porn starts to really feel more like a distant memory to me, to the point where I like, because when you quit something first and all that, like, it's still, even if I stop watching porn, right, it's like, it wasn't that long and it was still like fresh in my mind. In the early days, of course, you remember what it's like. But it got to the point where I just forgot essentially it's almost got to the point where I've almost forgotten what it feels like to like look at that stuff. And it's on one hand, like, that is great. That is really great, because it's like a sign that my brain is rewiring back to that natural state. But there is a bit of a danger zone that comes with that, because when you forget, for example, what something like that is like, that's when, let's say you go through a difficult time, whatever, that's when like another part of the brain could be like curious, hey, what would it actually be like to go back and watch that stuff? Like, that's what I've always found. I've always found that when I get these long streaks going, especially being on semen retention, right, on top of staying away from porn, like, when it starts to like fade from memory and I sort of forget words, like, the part of, like, honestly, I've had a few relapses where it's literally just been not because of not because of not being able to, control the urges or get through difficult time, but just curiosity, like, oh, what would it actually be like to go back and watch that stuff? That's what that's led me to relapse in the past. So yeah, that's a danger. That's definitely a dangerous precedent, right? So we have to be careful with that, of course. Look, even though I'm like very confident I'm never going back to porn, it's like still there's always that remote possibility something can happen, something can really trigger. And yeah, look, I'm not going to risk anything, so that's why I'm still here, still on this journey, still documenting it. But yeah, anyway, when it comes to being on semen retention, right? Like in the past, my goal was always just to get to 90 days. Like 90 to 100 days is like, you know, it's the sort of the golden benchmark. Like most guys typically aim for that. And like the 90 days especially is considered to be like quite a good standard where, okay, if you can reach 90 days, that's proof like you can recover from, say, PMO addiction. And like 90 days is considered to, say, especially hard mode, is considered to be like a good benchmark where you can pretty much, most guys can become like mostly healed from the addiction. Some guys, of course, might take a bit longer. Some guys might not even need that long, might not even need 90 days. Like for myself now, when I first went 90 days, I think I got like probably 80-90% of the way there, but I would have still needed to just keep on going, right? I wasn't quite able to finish that process, right, in the past when I got 90 days and then when I continued on, right? But yeah, it's been like this would have been my I think this is actually my 6th or 7th time reaching 90 days. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it's my 6th or 7th time reaching 90 days. I know I've done it like on YouTube like 5 times. I think I had one 90-day streak where I wasn't documenting on YouTube at all. And I think all my other ones were pretty much where I had channels like this and I was documenting it. So anyway, but 90 days in the past was always the benchmark that I would aim for, where I would always aim, okay, let's get to 90 days, 100 days. And then after that, I would like, okay, I'm done. I'm not making videos anymore. When I reached 90 in the past, I still intended to like go on, a bit longer, but still I didn't have that same drive and commitment. Like getting up to the 90, of course, was like, it's always been treated as this like golden benchmark where if you can do that, you're done, you're set. And yeah, look, I'm definitely not done. This time around, I am definitely not done. In fact, I feel this time I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started. I'm going for that year. Like, honestly, this has been probably the easiest 90 days I've ever had. Easiest 90 days. I've had, of course, you get urges here and there, but it's honestly been one of the easiest streaks that I've ever experienced. And honestly, I don't quite know why. I don't quite know why. Nothing fundamentally has changed, really. Because, yeah, it's been about, the last 2 years have been a real struggle. The last 2 years, especially, say, since I started off my old job, right? I noticed that since that happened, I struggled to get like a longer streak going. Like for the last 2 years ago, I had a different channel, which I had I think till last year sometime, and I got to 90 100 plus days on that channel from like first half of 2024 really. But then around July 2024, so 2 years ago now, I relapsed, and since then it's been a real struggle. It's been a real struggle to get back on track. Like it's just, I entered a bit of a, I wouldn't say a dark phase as such, but like it wasn't like the old days, right, where I was sort of deeper into the cycle. Like I was still doing relatively well. I could still go weeks at a time. Like I was still mostly staying away from porn. And again, like it's been 400 and something, like 60 something days since I last watched that stuff. So that's well over a year. It's been well over a year since I last watched porn. So even though I was struggling to be on track with, say, semen retention and get a longer streak going, I was able to successfully cut out porn, even if I was fapping occasionally. Like I occasionally get comments of guys saying, okay, cut out the porn, but why not allow yourself to fap once in a while occasionally? It's like I've done that. It's like, I can do it. The stage I'm at now, I can comfortably do that if I really want to. But it gets back to the point, like, what benefit do I really gain from that? I can't really name anything. It just feels like it's just an empty waste of energy, really. Like I'm at the stage now where the only time I actually want to release is like if I'm actually in a relationship with someone. So yeah, That's it. Only if I'm in a relationship, really, or if I like married or choose to have kids. Like that's the only scenario where I can see myself saying, all right, well, I'm for this stage, I'm not on semen retention. And even then, like, you don't really have to pick and choose all the time. Like it's possible to be in a relationship and even be married and still be on retention, say, for instance, where you can only I'm no expert on any of this, but there's this like whole thing on like tantric sex and like all this other stuff. Like it's there's not just one path, right? You can be in a relationship and you can still be, for example, on retention. Like it's there's plenty of guys, they just talk about this sort of stuff where it's not that like one or another. You can even be in a relationship and it can still be like platonic, right? Where it's like you're waiting till marriage and all this. Like even now, if I were to get in a relationship and all this, it doesn't mean that I have to quit semen retention. No, I think it's like just be honest, communicate clearly, and yeah, I think we'll work something out, eh? But yeah, at this stage, I'm just like, at the moment, I'm not like actively looking for a relationship. Like, I'm in contact with a few women at the moment, right? Like I've made new friends, I've made new connections, right? So there's at the moment there's 2 women that I'm talking to fairly regularly, but it's more like, they both would be long distance, right? At the moment, and one of them grew up relatively close to where I grew up, right? But she's overseas at the moment. So anyway, like it's just like I'm not really interested in doing any long distance thing or starting anything long distance. Like I'm in contact with a few women. I've made new friends, new connections. But like I'm perfectly happy if it's just friendship, right? Perfectly fine with that. Down the line we'll see. But like I'm not actively looking for a relationship at the moment. Like I'm open to make friends, open to connect, but I'm not actively looking for a relationship at the moment. I'm so focused on getting established in my job, my career, getting clearly established on a set career path, right? Down the line, then we'll see down the line, once I'm established, once I'm like full-time working in my field. And of course things can always change. Like doesn't mean like you can develop yourself, develop your career, and you can still be in a relationship. Of course, I'm not saying that's not possible, but what I mean is like getting into a relationship and all this. Of course, it's going to take a lot of, and it can take a lot of focus away. So at the moment, I'm just focused on getting established in my career and focus on the business and the monetary aspect. Sure, I want to earn money, I want to stack up, and of course, it's like, if you want to get in a relationship, get married, have kids, like how are you going to support them? How are you going to support them, right? It's like, you see, like, especially among older generations, and like in my so I'm half Sri Lankan, for example, and especially in like Eastern countries, right? There's, especially from older generations, there's still can be a lot of pressure to get married and have kids young, especially in more traditional religious societies. But outside in the West, like the family unit has largely been broken and it's like gone completely the wrong way. But in like say the East, non-Western countries, more traditional societies, but there can be a lot of pressure to get married young and have children early. And looking at a big problem, of course, in the West is our birth rate is too low, most definitely. Like it's not a healthy dynamic we have going on in the West, especially like with men and women and all this nonsense going on. But at the same time, I think like the world has changed big time. Of course, like it's so expensive to have kids now as well. Like of course it's like, you can't really blame. Like I see some people saying, oh, young people, they're not having kids. Well, it's so damn expensive. I'm sorry, but like, I hate this intergenerational warfare. Like I see a lot of times, like a lot of boomers and older people are complaining, oh, look at all these young people, they're just on their phones all the time. They're lazy, they're entitled, they don't work hard, all this. Let me tell you, I work bloody hard to get to where I am today. I'm not always on my phone. And I don't know, I just hate this holier than thou attitude that some older people have, where it's like they don't, like, I'm not saying everyone, of course, there's good and bad in every generation, right? I'm not going to point it all generations and say, okay, a whole generation and say it's all your fault. Like, I'm not gonna, as much as I want to, I'm not gonna say point at boomers and say, oh, it's all your fault. Like, even though many things you could really say it is. Like, it's the way the economy, like, sort of, for example, like the way our society in the West is currently set up, the way the economy has gone, cost of living increase, that, if you want to point at any generation, you could largely point at boomers. You could do that, right? For example, since the Industrial Revolution, our standard of living, for instance, in the West has rapidly improved. Like, even though there's all these cost of living pressures, all this stuff, like, still, materially today we are much better off compared to our ancestors. Like, even some of the poorest people, say in Western countries today, materially better off than, say, how kings might have been in, you know, the ancient past, for instance. Like, materially we are much better off than we have been at any time in history. That is true. That is undoubtedly true. Technology, all these advances that we've made, but still, if you look at, like, you know, like per capita, you know, wealth, you know, real income, when adjusting for inflation, the cost of living, all that, like, it's on the decline. Like, my generation, Gen Z, we're really, you can go from millennials, really, millennials, Gen Z, like, we are pretty much like since the Industrial Revolution, we're pretty much going to be like the first generations that are, on a per capita basis, like, worse off than our parents. Yeah, on paper we might earn a bit more, for example, than you earned, like, say, the 1970s. But okay, how much does it cost to buy a house, and how much does it cost to buy a car? Like, you could buy a house for like 2-3 times income. Now what is it? Like, in major Australian cities, it's like 10-15 times income, at least, even more in some areas. Like, housing has gotten crazy, everything's gotten so expensive. Yeah, Australia is probably one of the most expensive countries to have kids. So yeah, look, I've got to focus on stacking up, earning money. If I do, say, eventually want to get married and have kids, how the hell am I going to support them? So I need to, like, stack up and focus on that. That's why so many young people are just focused on career, jobs, and just surviving. Like, I mean, yeah, I think if we didn't have that cost of living pressure to the extent that we have it now, if everything was run, you know, properly and was moving in the right direction, then I think more people would choose to, say, have kids. But it's like, that's not how it works. That is not all how it works. Like, it's, some older people don't get that. They're like, oh, look, back in my day, you know, like, we worked so much harder and we had all, yeah. Yeah, what was the cost of living? What was the cost of living? How much did housing cost? How much did cars cost? Electricity. Australia used to have some of the cheapest electricity in the developed world. Now we're among the most expensive. The wealth of this country has been absolutely squandered by older generations, absolutely squandered. And yeah, there's not much of an inheritance for young people left anymore. Like, yeah, the wealth has been squandered, opportunities, resources have largely been wasted. But look, I don't want to go all doom and gloom in this video. Like, I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, like, I choose to be a warrior, not a victim. I'm still going to work hard. I'm still going to do my best. I'm still going to try and make it. But yeah, you can look at all these things and say, yeah, this is what's happened, right? So yeah, anyway, that's why I'm just focused at the moment on career, growth, making money, yes, and then down the line, like, if I'm ready, then yeah, hopefully I can get into like find a partner, and then yeah, maybe eventually have a family, settle down somewhere. But at the moment, it's like, okay, well, if that happens, like, how am I gonna support them? So that's the most important question, right? Like, it's like, I don't know, you see sort of like people where they sort of get married and have kids young. It's like, I know some people they're like, yeah, they're happy on the surface, like, they're happy, like, some of them, like, the relationship, like, clearly works, and, you know, they're happy. But at the same time, you know, like, having kids too young now, it's like, that is a big financial commitment, and it no doubt involves a lot of sacrifice, right? Like, those years when you could otherwise be, you know, studying, getting a career going, which you can still do that, of course, while raising kids, but it just makes it so much harder. The ideal scenario is you get established in something, then you, okay, yep, I'm stable, financially stable, now I can support, say, a family, right? It's just, but it is bloody hard. I get that. And that's also why so many people are like, oh, I worked so hard to get to this point. It's like, kids are too much of a financial burden, so I'm just not going to have kids. That's that's the way, of course, many people think, and it's like, fair enough. I'm not here to point a finger at anyone. I understand the problems that our society faces, but I'm not here to point the finger at anyone. It's like, to each their own. I totally understand that, and I'm at the stage, I'm not even sure if I ever will have kids. Like, the dating market, of course, is pretty cooked as well in the West. So I don't know. Anyway, but I'm very happy with the path I'm on, the path I have chosen. Let's get this damn ball. Where the hell? I need to get going. To work, eh? Oh, where'd it go? Anyway, that's gonna be it for this one. Oh, there it is. It's gonna be it for this one. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm by no means finished. We're just getting started. So yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Onwards and upwards.